Welcome to our podcast, Može Kafa. We are Ivana
and Maki,
your host. In this podcast, we discuss interesting details about Serbian language and culture from a learner's and teacher's perspective.
We offer new and fun resources for learners of Serbian. To follow each episode with annotated script, vocabulary, and quizzes, join us also at Može Kafa Podcast on Instagram. So if you're ready, grab a cup of coffee and enjoy the podcast. Dobro jutro svima.
Dobro jutro. Ovdje Ivana I...
Ovdje je Maki.
Yay, we synchronized. Finally. Exactly.
Okay, we are here with a very special episode.
Oh, man.
Especially for Serbians, right?
If you want to understand Serbia and understand our mentality and the history and everything, I think you need to listen to this singer/songwriter, Đorđe Balašević. He's very famous in the north, but to be honest, he's famous everywhere on the Balkan. And when I say everyone on the Balkan, I mean ex-Yugoslavia, and I mean Slavic people mostly, because he represented something to us. And so, yeah, that's
the first people that I met here as well mentioned this guy in the first sentence when we talked about music, Đorđe Balašević. And I saw how they sing with him. Like everybody knows almost every song of his, I guess.
He has so many songs. I wasn't really aware how many songs he has. But yeah,
and not many repetitions when I listen to his songs. Like lots of new words for the learners, by the way.
Oh my God. Even for me, I sometimes don't know the words. I have to ask my parents or someone, because I'm like, what? Like, how does he have such a wide vocabulary? Like, I don't get it. Such a rich vocabulary. It's crazy. And just mind you, I'm not saying everyone's going to love him, because there are some people that don't like him. I'm quite aware. But mostly he represents something good, and he is really, really loved. And to be honest, I wasn't really into him that much when I was younger, because since day one, my parents used to play his songs all the time. And when you're young and you're just kind of okay, you don't get it. You don't get
it's too deep for young people, probably.
And his music is not the most how can I say, sometimes it's not the most elevated music, and so you think
sometimes it's like poem.
Exactly.
He talks.
Yeah. It's mostly that's a good point, actually. That's something I want to talk about. But he's more of a poet, and so you have to get the words. And it was just actually when I was younger, I didn't really care. But my dad, he loves him. Even my mom, but my dad is he even the way he acts, the way he is very similar to him. So for me, now when I'm older, now when I, understand the words, understand the meaning behind, and I'm not going to say I understand everything, because I don't.
Still.
Yeah, exactly. I still have to,
maybe when you're 40 or 50, you will get his point better.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's going to be a revelation every step of the way, and that's why I love his songs. So, by the way, guys, if you don't know, he died 4 months ago in February.
Yeah, everybody that I knew on Instagram was sharing their posts and stories about him.
Yeah.
That showed me how big he is here.
Yeah.
Until then I was there's this guy, but at that point I realized everybody cried when he died.
Actually, it's kind of sad to think about it, but only when he died, I wasn't again that emotional, but only when he died I was I knew it was big. I knew it was big for our not only country, for our countries, And I said to myself, you know what? I deserve, my parents deserve of me to understand why he's so loved by my family, So I decided to just listen to some songs and read a bit, and the more I did, the more it touched me.
I see.
Yeah, guys, I'm trying not to cry, because I cried so many days in the last week. I cried so much.
And that's a different episode regarding the script, because this time I haven't read what Ivana wrote until now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a surprise for me. And I have questions, of course, for you.
Yeah.
And Ivana recommended me to listen to some songs of hers that she picked. And I took notes before reading its lyrics and after. So it's a huge shock in all of them.
Exactly, because I told you to do that because, first of all, I wanted to see what you think the music conveys before understanding what the lyrics are. And then, so how you perceive it like that, like first time listening to it, you before that you knew a song or two, knew so you kind of knew, but he has various different styles, it's not just that. But then I wanted you to read the lyrics. This is where like the biggest kind of like surprises,
This is where you get to know him, I guess.
Yeah. And I just want to tell you guys, this is probably going to be a slightly longer episode because I don't want to time it. I just want us to, kind of pay tribute to him. I think it's really important, and I really, really want you to understand as much as you can. Obviously, it's difficult as a foreigner, but still, I want to do that. Okay, I have kind of like an order that I want to go through, and when we go through songs, that's when you're gonna give like your input.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk a bit about like his biography, career, and then we're gonna get to the songs, some like lyrics, and some of his quotes, because he also wrote books and everything. He's a complex personality. And so we're gonna try to do everything, and I'm gonna cut as much as I can, but I feel like, guys, you should explore him and his songs, definitely. Yeah. Another thing is, I actually really want to give a shout out to Professor Sky on YouTube. He's Canadian guy, if I'm not mistaken, and he's married to a Serbian girl. And for his 2 years ago, I think, for her birthday, he decided to listen to the first album of Đorđe Balašević to kind of like, out of like a love, for her, because he loves her so much, to understand why Đorđe Balašević is so important. And I really got some really, really good insights from a foreigner perspective, but also the perspective of like someone who's from my area, because he really made good points, and also there are really amazing comments. Like, it really cleared some things up and like made me understand more. And even reading the comments again made me cry. It was like all this thing. But yeah, it was a very, very insightful video, and he has like 2 more videos. And he's gonna keep doing every year. He's gonna listen to one album and react to it on her birthday.
That's cool. I'm gonna check this out for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with some facts. This is definitely not going to be that emotional, but so he was born in Novi Sad, and he actually stayed there his whole life, and which is
he didn't move around.
No. I mean, he traveled for his music, but he always stayed there, and that's also where he died, right? And he has a Serbian father, or had a Serbian father, and a Hungarian/Croatian mother. So he does come from like a very, colorful family. Yeah, multicultural. And when he was young, he actually wanted to be a soccer player. And I think he had some, I don't know if he has some issues. I think it was with like his, did he have some injury or whatever, but then he decided to study geography. I think his dad actually kind of like influenced him, but when he had that injury, he like wrote a song for a fly, something like that, like a random song, and that's when he discovered like, what about music, So he was like really wanting to turn to music, but his father didn't really support it. But he did, of course. He started like working on music in his career, and he was never supported by his parents in his career, not even his mom. And to this day, like while he was still alive, every show he leaves 2 seats for his parents.
Wow.
Yeah.
Every show, wherever he goes, like.
Yeah. Yeah. And whenever there are seats, obviously, like, and his mother died when he was 27, and
Wow, too
his dad,
young.
his dad died, I think, like 7 years after that. So his whole career, like basically, he didn't have them near, right? He dedicated some songs to her because, as he explains it, the reason why he's like such a poetic person and creative is because of her. She had that, kind of like
And she inspired him as well.
Yeah, his dad was definitely like more realistic, and his mom was more dreamy, So that's where he came from.
One question: were they like a wealthy family or middle class, or?
Yeah, they were actually pretty like a middle class, wealthy kind of like. So they had like money. They were okay. Like he never bothered about money. That's a good point because he met his wife, and she's from Zrenjanin.
Ah, wow.
Exactly. So
that's a nice coincidence, huh?
Yeah, that's really funny. And she was an athlete. She was actually like a candidate for Olympic Games in Moscow.
Wow.
And she was supposed to. So she moved. By the way, Zrenjanin is also a very sporty place where like a lot of.
I mean, most of the Serbian towns, huh? To me, I mean.
That's good, actually. Yeah.
Nice.
And
and they have 3 kids, right?
Yes. Okay. I'll get there. So his wife is Iranian. She was poor. She was quite poor, and she was like wanted to be in the Olympic Games, and she went to Novi Sad, and then she met him, and she never went to Moscow, and she fell in love when they fell in love. They got married, and and then he went to the military. I think she gave birth to their first daughter while he was in the military. So yeah, it was. They have 3 kids. They have Ivana, Yelena, and Alexa.
By the way, all of them end with A, but Alexa is a male name.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So I wanted to ask you that. I was like, do you know if Alexa is like for a guy or a girl?
Yeah. And one question: has any of them become like a singer or musician?
So I didn't really read a lot about them, and also they're quite a private family. But Jovana is an actress. That's what I know.
I see.
But no one really. If they do, I don't think they are musicians. I don't think they are.
Otherwise, they would be popular. I mean,
probably
the legend's son or daughter. Everybody would. I mean, like keep an eye on them.
These are big shoes to fill. So I don't know if anyone's going to be, up to their task. It will be very difficult. They will be shadowed by their father. So yeah. In terms of his career, he actually started, he had 2 bands. So he didn't start solo. He started with a band. The first one was called Žetva, and the second one was Rani Mraz. And then he had his solo career with the album Pub.
Which means pub?
No, it means the jack, like the card jack, I think. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And overall, just so you know, he had, I think, 14 albums. And he wrote 14 albums. He wrote 5 books. So, yeah, I'm like, I didn't even know that he wrote books. I'm like, I'm going to have to order some.
By the way, he stopped his education after high school, as far as I know.
Yeah, right? I think he left. Yeah, he didn't finish. He didn't graduate. No. And actually, when you think about it, he got famous quite young. I mean, it's not like he was waiting for 20 years or anything like that. It was quite young. And there's one album that I wanted to point out. It's called Dnevnik starog momka, which is a diary of an old man, or momak boy, or whatever. And there are 12 songs, and the initials, when you put the initials of all songs, they spell Olja je najbolja. His wife's name is Olivera. Olja.
Olja is the nickname. Olja, so Olja is the best.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was something curious that I wanted to point out. Yeah, it was. So
his first, was it the first album?
Oh no, it was middle, something like that. I don't know which one it was, but definitely not the first one. Yeah, he was also he involved himself, I don't want to say in politics because he was never like, but he would voice his opinion. And I think that's where a lot of the hatred also came from. He, in the beginning, he was commenting on Josip Broz Tito. That was the president, so called, yeah, before, and he was, but he was for him, like, you know, he wasn't like criticizing him in a way. And then he criticized actually Slobodan Milosevic, and yeah, so he, after a while, he decided to leave politics, and he's like, there was too much backlash and too little benefit, you know, to, and in a sense, you should always voice your opinion, but um maybe because we saw him as such a cultural person, we, like, people couldn't, like, maybe felt that it wasn't his place to be political, you know.
I see.
So I mean, politics is just a very touchy subject. So yeah.
But did it affect his career
Oh
being
yeah, he
against
did.
Milosevic? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's not only that, but against also wars and everything. Yeah, he was definitely like affected. During one time, he was like, during a period of time, he was. People would come to his house and like knock on windows
Question.
and like, no, and they were like, how do you say, the tire of his car, they would like pump it out, like stuff like that. It was just, he also for a while couldn't earn, he was banned on radios and like TV shows and whatever. Yeah, it was quite a
Harsh time for him,
yeah,
no?
exactly. So it was like, basically, how are we going to survive if we're not allowed to be played anywhere, right? Yeah, so he was also the first Serbian person to perform in Sarajevo following the siege of Sarajevo. So, and that was like yeah, that was like, you know, Serbs over there and like Bosnians over there fighting for the town. It's also like maybe something we can talk about in one of our episodes, like the historical part of Serbia in
Yeah.
periods.
So he
But
was one of the pioneers,
yeah,
like trying
so
to build a relationship again.
yeah, he was always for unity rather than separatism. Yeah, and maybe idealistic, but that's what he believed in. And yeah, so that was quite tricky, but he survived. No one attacked, like no one killed him. But I want to say about his style, music style. I don't know how much you got because I sent you like the songs that I kind of like. This is his style that I kind of like, but he has had a mixture of styles, like from rock to even a bit poppy, but like very less, also acoustic. Like he had this Mexican influence as well. There was this one
Yeah.
album, so like so many things. It's very difficult to kind of define him. I think in one ways how you can define him is by his music, by his song text, like lyrics, poeticism, right? I prefer the acoustic instruments. These are the ones that I send you mostly. And some of the instruments that he used was a bassoon. I think that's how you say it. Bassoon, oboe. Is it? Oh my god, I don't know how to pronounce these things.
Probably all both, yeah.
Trumpet, violin. Yeah. So these kind of things he incorporated. That's very specific to him. He also directed a movie, Kao Rani Mraz. If I
Kao
don't know if
Rani
you,
Mraz?
yeah,
So, Rani
like
Mraz was...
like an early Frost. Frost,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Frost, yeah. That was
Yeah,
familiar.
and the thing is that no, I don't really know where to find that movie. They also had issues with that movie, and they
Was it
ended up
about his
like,
life? This movie?
no, it's based, I think, on a book that he wrote, and it's a fictional story. But the thing is that I never like. I never read it and I never watched it, so I really like wanted, like, I want to. I was trying to find it on internet, like on Amazon, on like any sort of platform, but I don't know. That was They just played it during the premiere, and then that was it. Who bought the tickets? Bought the tickets, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. They must have had a reason for that, and
Yeah.
and yeah, he that was directed and played by like his whole family. So someone like Jovan, of course, acted. Jelena helped with the script, I think, and
That's cool.
and so on. So it was like a family project among other people, and there were some really like famous actors like Rade Šerbedžija, Vojin Chetković, so on and so on. There's so many of them. Yeah.
That's cool. I'm going to try to find it as well.
Yeah. I think we're not going to be successful, but definitely we can try it. And then I want to talk about the most important part, which is actually the symbolism that he brings
Yeah,
in.
that's the deep part, I guess.
That's the stuff. Yeah.
I also, like, from the songs that you sent to me, I was like taking, but I was not sure, like, if he really was talking about this or that, or.
You know, in a lot of his songs, you don't really know what he's talking about because it can be metaphorical, but it can also be like connected to a specific event, you know. And there's a lot of speculations, even for now, even for like currently for some songs, we don't really know. So, I mean, that's I think the reason for why poets are poets. They give you something and then you interpret what it is, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So one thing about him, he was famous, like very famous, but he was really respected. And when I say respected, I mean that we all knew where he lived. It was not a secret. It was like he lived in his all like grandpa's house. He renovated it, but he never wanted to like build it from scratch. So
wow.
yeah,
So there's no security, like you can see him in his garden.
Yeah, I'm guessing, you know, but it's basically like he was kind of part of us. He was like our people, you know, like he wasn't this. I mean, symbolically, he was this someone, but he was just a regular guy. You know, that's how we saw him. Like he's our pal, and he would just walk around Novi Sad, be in cafes, and like no one would bother him. You know, like
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's not like paparazzi were going after him. Nothing like that. I'm pretty sure he'd had probably some people approach him or whatever, but mostly people are like, no, he's over there. Okay, no, let him have his day. Like there was such a mutual understanding, you know.
That's very nice.
There's also one really nice thing, which is how you can see how much of a family guy he is. He did not want to perform during the holidays so that he can spend time with his family. He could have because there was a lot of money in it.
Yeah, more money when you perform on holidays.
Exactly. But I think very rarely did he do that. I do remember that for a while the tradition was that he would perform on Valentine's Day in Zrenjanin because his wife was from Zrenjanin, you know. My parents went once or twice, yeah.
I see.
Oh, by the way, I went to his concert once and that was like I think 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Yeah, 3 years ago. I was so happy that I went. It was such a good time. Like
where was it?
The Sava Center, I think, Belgrade.
Belgrade, okay.
It was. One thing is that you can watch some of his concerts online, so you can see what I'm saying. It's not like he has song after song after song. He has stories in between the songs. He's funny as hell. He never makes a mistake. He's like a stand-up comedian plus like musician plus a poet plus I don't know, like it's so specific you cannot imitate it. It's just incredible. And the important thing here is that he actually defined himself as a Yugoslavian singer and songwriter. So
because he likes unity, he doesn't want to differentiate him from other ex-Yugoslavian countries.
Yeah, well, there are many reasons for that, and that is definitely one of them. So first of all, he was born in Yugoslavia, right? So he was born in that mentality of unity and everything.
Before we continue with the show, here's a quick reminder. This podcast is free for everyone and supported by listeners like you. If you have found this podcast useful and companion to you so far, and if you have the means, we will appreciate your help. To support us, to continue with this podcast, you can buy us a cup of coffee. To do that, go to buymeacoffee.com/podcast and choose how many cups of coffee you would like to send us. Your support will give us courage and means to continue creating useful content for everyone who wants to learn more about the Serbian language and culture. Thanks for joining us. Now let's get back to our episode.
His parents were like international. Like his mom was half Croatian, you know, like his dad was Serbian. Like, I mean, it's just like for him it was like the norm. And even now, whenever it's a different country, he still says like I'm, because he's loved in these countries. He's loved in Croatia, he's loved in Bosnia, he's loved in like Slovenia, you know. So he's like, no, I'm Yugoslavian because people love me in Yugoslavia, not only Serbia, you know. And yeah, so he performed mostly in that territory his whole life. And
I see.
I don't uh I don't know if you noticed, but in a lot of his songs, he always starts with a story. Like there once was this guy, or like there was a lot of times he does that. So and then he switches and he like kind of somehow connects it. I think that's really really interesting
Do you
because
mean like in the song itself or
yeah,
before he sings it?
in
In
the
the songs,
song.
right?
But of course, even
Because
before he sings, he always has some sort of like interlude or something.
uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
someone wrote in the comments, he's a wizard of words. That's spot on, because yeah, there's just a poet can do that, honestly. And as I said, he was witty and funny.
Very
Um,
nice.
yeah, I already mentioned on YouTube Professor Sky's recording. Professor Sky's record a review. That's the name of the YouTube.
Okay.
Um, like it really put things into perspective, and he mentioned this thing about humanism, which makes so much sense. He was a humanist. He was talking about the unity, about everyone being equal, about um not only South Slavs like we as, but everyone. So he was advocating for that humanism, like be kind to each other, like against, he was totally against wars and everything. So I wrote down he's a peacemaker. To me, he was a peacemaker, you know. We call it mirotvorac.
Mirotvorac.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I also want to mention that to me, he's such a important figure in romanticism.
Mhm.
He was such a romantic. He was so
Yeah,
in love with his wife. Hmm?
definitely. I mean, the songs that you sent to me before reading the text, I was like, this is about love for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not, but the way he sings, it shows that it's like
Yeah.
about love, related to love, or loving somebody, something, some
Yeah.
country.
It is, and I would say in the beginning when he started writing music, it was mostly around like more of like political things and nationalism versus separatism. No, not separatism versus whatever humanism, um, and then later he moved away from that and focused mostly on like love songs.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he was against nationalism, xenophobia, and hatred. And there's one quote that I want to mention where he said in an interview.
Mhm.
By the way, guys, I'm gonna try not to read things in Serbian here that much, because we're gonna like read like the lyrics and the quotes, and if I read it in Serbian and then translate it in English, um, it's gonna take a long time. This is gonna be like a 1 hour.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna read it some things in Serbian, some, but not everything. So he basically said, to kind of like quote him, now after everything, people approach me and tell me that I was right to be against wars, right? But I never wanted to be right. I just didn't want the war to happen and the evil the war brings. So that kind of sums up who he is. He's like, I don't want to be right. I just don't want wars. They don't bring anything good. Um, yeah, his lyrics are confusing to me
Mhm.
still. They're mysterious, but they're brilliant. That's what they're brilliant. And if you try to translate him, and for me as a Serbian person trying to translate certain things, it's just a lot of is lost in translation.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Because the words, some of them look simple,
Yeah.
but obviously they are not simple.
No, if
So,
just, and yeah, I think that's why he's loved so much. And there's
mhm.
one comment on that YouTube channel, Professor Sky. Someone said Yugoslavia was just a territory and state, but Balašević's Yugoslavia is a state of mind.
Hmm. Showing that his perspective, his idea was actually different from
Yeah.
what
So
the real one was.
it's not about the borders. like we're never going to probably have Yugoslavia back again, right?
Yeah.
But it's about that unity. It's about that humanism. It's about that Yugoslavia as a, the way he describes it is we were like we had different religions, Catholics, Orthodox, Muslim. We had different, like, let's say, nationalities. We had like different minorities in our countries, but we somehow functioned for years. And
Yeah, in a
that's
very successful way.
exactly, and that's the thing. Usually that's the idea. They're like it we're that ideal that we can all, like, it's universal, that we can all get together no matter our differences. I think that's the symbol that he tried, that he was actually to us, you know. Okay.
Definitely. I mean, with one comment as well, like
Of course.
that Yugoslavia was not only like peaceful, like successful, but also still you see the effects of it. I mean,
Yeah.
Serbia or like Bosnia or Croatia, they're all successful in their own ways. Like
Yeah.
they're still, I think, doing
Yeah.
better thanks to like these peaceful times
Yeah.
to the
Well,
Yugoslavia.
yeah, we definitely have our differences and our issues and everything, but I mean, to this day, and I really wasn't born in that Yugoslavia, like that. I didn't feel that unity, you know, when I was younger, to say, like, you know, to have that enormous country with so many differences. But even today, when I meet someone who's from Serbia, from Bosnia, from Croatia, from Montenegro, from Slovenia, even from Macedonia, it's like we are, like, we say nash. I don't know, like
Yes.
ours, you know. We have this thing where I'm like, oh, you get me finally. I think that's the thing, because you can keep your individualistic, like, traits. That's totally fine. That's what defines you. But in a way, we still kind of belong to each other.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
You
And
can speak to each other. You
yeah,
understand each other. That's very nice.
yeah, that's also definitely something. But it's a lot about the culture. I'm like, oh my God, so finally someone who gets me. Like, we're from a similar, you know. So it's that state of mind that we are talking about. That kind of we co-lived perfectly. I mean, perfect. I don't want to say perfect because I'm pretty sure they were, you know,
Issues, of
we
course.
know we know that there were issues, right? But it was kind of still like, huh. For a while, it was a good idea. Yeah. Should we turn to
So,
songs? Sorry.
famous songs, yeah.
Yeah. Do
Which
you see
were
so?
like hard for you to pick, I guess, right?
Oh my, yeah. I was like, which songs am I gonna send to her? I was like, I'm gonna send 2, 3. I ended up sending 4 plus 2. She didn't have to listen to them, but if she had time or like interest or whatever, then she could. Because I was like, oh my God, like he had so many hits. Like I can't even pick one song to represent him. So yeah, you listen to 4 of them.
Yeah. By the way, he has a YouTube channel like Đorđe Balašević.
Yeah.
So all the songs can be found there. Some videos from concerts, and like so many things you can find there. Not that many interviews though. Just
No,
like,
he didn't have many like we didn't do many interviews. Actually, that's what I said. Give many interviews. So, but yeah, I think that's the part where he was like, you know, I don't want to be constantly in your face. You know, I want to have my privacy. There are some things that I don't want to share. So yeah. Yeah, there's so many of them. I'm just going to mention some of them, but I selfishly usually like send you my favorites songs that are my favorites. So not like maybe not the most famous ones, but the ones that I love. So there's a song, and I'm not gonna translate all of them because it would take so much time for me. There's Samo da rata ne bude, which means just that there's no war, like something like that. And that's vocally also impressive. And that was before the Bosnian Wars, actually. There's also a song, these are like political songs, like Čovek sa mesecom u očima, a man with a moon in his eyes. It's about a battle in Vukovar, a city in Croatia that's near Serbia.
so these songs were written and sang during the war times, right? Or
Before
after?
or during. Before or during. Yeah. But they're political songs. That's how I order them. And then there's the one that I sent you, which is Ne
Yeah.
lomite mi bagrenje. Don't break
Don't.
my locust trees. I think that's how it's called.
Yeah.
And someone explained it as like, don't, basically, he talked about it. He said that it's more metaphorical than talking about a specific event, which is basically like, don't break my life, don't break my feelings, don't break my relationships, like stuff like that, you know.
Yeah. May I tell you what I thought before and
Yes,
after?
please.
So this Nelomite Mi Padre,
Mm-hmm.
while listening, I said, oh, that's a very lovely song. Probably about his failures, though, because I felt the sadness while listening.
Yeah.
And like a very, very familiar tone I felt. But after reading the lyrics, I was shocked because he was talking to a judge in the song.
Yeah.
And then he's referring to wars.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking it's just personal song. Like he's
Yeah.
talking about his life or personal failures or something.
Well, yeah.
Right?
It's
my question is it like he says they ruined my garden. They cause me trouble, so I cannot forgive them, he says in some parts. So I don't know who he refers to, but
well, a lot of people said that it was about the like
Albanians, right?
Yes, Kosovo. So Albanians in Kosovo and kind of like the tumultuous period over there when Serbians fled, right? So kind of like that, you know, you're going into my garden or whatever. But like maybe it is, and I think it could be very much applied. Maybe he had something universal like against wars, you know, but maybe it was specific to that too. I don't know. I mean, most probably he was thinking of that too, but yeah, I think it's it talks about a judge, and because he's like, I would need someone who's like neutral, someone who's the judge of right and wrong, right? And he's kind of like giving arguments like, why are you allowing this if that's wrong, kind of like.
Yeah,
actually
very
that's
interesting, creative song, I think.
yeah, actually there's a line that I want to mention, which is translation, and everything by the law. I suppose that there wouldn't be this blood if everything was by the law. So if everything was, that's why he was telling to the judge, if you're a judge and you're doing everything by the law, why is there this blood on both sides, not only on our side, you know? So that was basically it. Then we come to the next one, which is Legenda o Gedi Gluperdi.
Legenda, legend, I guess.
Yeah, about Geda, the stupid. And this one is about Slobodan Milošević, actually. He really didn't like him. And there's a quote where he says, "It has happened before that somebody squandered and shattered the land, but that somebody shattered our land and this person's land, this has never happened." Like in a sense that it has happened before that there are like people like other countries attacked us and like, you know, shattered our land, but that someone ours fucked up our country and our land, this is like a news to us, you know. So yeah, that's his humor. Yeah, then we have Devojka sa čardaš nogama, right? Which we talked about. And again, there's a line, she was looking at me like a doe infatuated by a sad song. Whom do you belong to, spotted chick? Why aren't you meant for me? And this is the romantic side.
Yeah, very, very much.
Yeah. Okay. There's a sad song, Priča o Vasi Ladačkom. I don't know if you heard about that one. That one is really famous. And it's a romantic song, and basically talks about like there's a guy who he didn't really have that much money, and he was in love with someone who didn't really have enough money. So he had to marry someone with like who's rich, you know. And then at the end, it's basically like it's all for nothing, because if you don't have that love, that person that you love, then you know it doesn't matter. Let me just see
how much they have. Yeah.
You can only truly love once in your life, and whether it will be someone rich or someone poor isn't for the mind to decide, but for the heart. Yeah. And guys, I'm
So
gonna put
romantic.
it is. And the thing is that it sounds so cliche, but the way he says it, it's not cliche. It's just the way he renders it. And we're gonna put like maybe we should talk about this where we can put all of these quotes, because I want to put the Serbian translation too. I don't want to put just the English one. I think Ringešpil is also one of the most famous ones. I think like the top 3, I would say Ringešpil is. Again, a love song. And then there's Lepa proti na kći, again, a love song. Again, so I want to read the line. And I kiss good ones, easy ones, some right ones, some not, and they're all fairies, they're all queens, and they're all irrelevant compared to her. So yeah, so he kind of surprises you with these lyrics, like, oh, okay. There's another one which is posveđena pesma, which means like, posveđen means like you are quarreling with someone, something like that, like we're like fighting currently, and it's a love song and like being in a relationship. And then we have neki novi klinci, some new kids talking about like generations, and then the ones where they then there's Panonski Mornar, which is Pannonian. Oh, what is this? Who are people that are in the Navy? It's not the yeah, he's a sailor. Yeah, Pannonian sailor. That's
okay.
Because Serbia doesn't have the access to the sea. We don't have the sea, and Pannonian Plain actually before was Pannonian Sea.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he defines himself as a Pannonian sailor, and that's also now now when they talk about his death and everything, he's like he was our Pannonian sailor. And the last one that I'm gonna mention that are like famous ones, and then we're gonna go to like my favorites, is Noć kad sam preplivao Dunav, which basically means the night when I crossed the river Danube.
Noć, night, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna read the line, but basically now that he died, people say he finally crossed the river. Danube. Yeah,
that's the reference. I see.
Yeah. Azzo Brazzo. What do you think about that?
Azzo Brazzo. Yes, the title is funny.
Yes, Azzo is a nickname for Alexa, and Brazzo is a nickname for brother.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed like until that. Brazzo. So it sounded like a simple, like low density, like song. And it was very harmonic though, and it started to be uplifting, like during the after the middle part, let's say. But then I read the lyrics, and it's about emperors, kings, like no matter what they have, no matter how successful they are, the important thing is living life with honesty and music. And he mentions Vojvodinians. He feels like proud of them. He feels attached to them.
Definitely, because he was born in Vojvodina. That's also how he identifies. So yeah, it's I just rediscovered that song. Of course, I knew about it before, but I was listening to songs and I'm like, I want this song to be played at my wedding. I want to dance on the table, and I don't care. Like that's the vibe that I'm getting. The song is for his 10-year-old son, and basically saying, just don't mind people, just have fun, just do your thing. Let me see. I think I wrote it here somewhere where basically says envy has to be earned. That's what he said. If people are envious, like you're doing something right. In a sense, you're doing something that they want to do. So you're having fun. Just have fun. Yeah. There's a song Oliveira, of course, for his wife. A very happy love song. I love it. That was one of my favorites for a while. You should listen to it definitely. And there was one line where she says, talked about like how they maybe missed each other, maybe maybe I stood in front of the same shop window with you, not knowing that. Maybe we got out from the same train together. Maybe you were so close to me, you passed me by through my street, and maybe we passed like next to each other on the moment. Who knows? Yeah. And then there's Slabo Divan in Mađarski. Divanim. We talk about that word?
Yes, we
Talk.
did.
Talk,
Yes.
yeah. So I basically he's saying, I don't really talk Hungarian. Mađarski is Hungarian.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, he says Mađarski.
Mm-hmm.
Mađarski. But it's kind of like a tweak. It's just to me, it's an uplifting song too. So I think it would be a good listen.
Definitely. He refers to Hungarian people a lot because of, I think, Vojvodina's effect, right?
Exactly.
But he respects them. He finds them beautiful. He finds them attractive as well.
He has also many Hungarians as a part of his band, So, he's like basically like, he lived with them, right? Like he next to them. So yeah. There's also a song for a dark-skinned girl. Još jedna pesma o maloj garavoj. Garava is dark-skinned. Yeah, there's a very famous song, Namčor.
Yeah, this is what I listened to as well.
Yes. So what did you think of it?
So I was thinking like he loves someone, but that person doesn't even see him. Like but still he enjoys being in love.
Yeah.
And he's very optimistic. I thought like he will find that love back in the end.
Yeah.
But then again, lots of criticism of modern world when you see the lyrics.
Yeah.
And even loving someone makes him sick. Like he doesn't want to have these simple earthly like feelings.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, the opposite. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So the Namčor, and also another word is nevolem, which is nevolim, but in the north people say nevolem sometimes.
Yeah, I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't love.
Exactly. And basically the whole time he's just saying, I don't love this, I don't love that, I don't love this, I don't. So this really negative person, and he hates everything, but I love you. That's a fact. You're my only love.
Yeah.
That's what he says. Good. Okay, I think we should skip through some other ones. There's the ones I love. Demol, really, really nice, for long love longing kind of. There's Maliganska, there's Ljerka, and then there's Naposledku, which
we listened together without knowing this morning.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was, I think that's my dad's favorite. I mean, if he can have a favorite. But yeah, it's what did you think about it?
So he starts talking first, right? In the song.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm very curious what he says. And then he speeds up. And I thought it's like a story of a family or someone. Like it felt like a story.
Yeah.
And then I read the lyrics. He talks about himself as a musician and like to a woman who was in love with him, but he says to her like, you knew what I was. Like you shouldn't have had these expectations from me. I'm a musician. I don't know where I'm going to go, where the wind will take me to. So and he kind of leaves this lover. In the song.
And it's a very sad song, but it's also like good for us, like for everyone. Like you should know who your partner is and accept them. Just they'll show you. So basically, don't think something else of me. Just take me as I am. If that's okay, then that's okay, and if it's not, then yeah. But yeah, it's a very sad song. I mean, I told you I almost started crying. I don't know how I'm going to listen to Đorđe Balašević songs now after knowing all of this and not cry. I don't know.
So don't listen to it every day then.
No, I'm not. I'm definitely not listening. I was like, I listened to it a lot because I wanted to see what are the most important bits that I should convey, to you. But I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to listen to it now that much.
Yes.
And there's so many things we can say, and I just want to say a quote or two that he said in maybe his books or interviews or somewhere on the stage, and he said, "He who is lucky in cards is not lucky in love. Yes, but who has no luck in love has nothing."
Yeah, nobody added this
Yeah,
sentence.
yeah. And then another one, which is really, really cute. You could be quite happy with the way I miss you. Then the third one is me. You know me. I was born in love, and tonight I finally found out with whom.
Wow.
Isn't he like he's
Yeah,
he could have been Don Juan.
he must be very good at flirting, yeah.
Another one. And I don't know why, after all, I always come back to your imperfections. I guess it's love, darling.
A little bit criticism there, but still,
Yeah.
love is big.
I mean, it's the way he says it in Serbian. It's not as cliche as it is in English, So like, I wish you could, understand. You can, yeah, exactly, feel it. There's two more. The one is, I think it's beautiful. There are silences that I remember more than the most beautiful words. That's a good one, which is like sometimes being silent with your loved one, with your family, it's more important than the things you say. It's the moment that matter.
If that silence gives you peace and unity, of course.
And the last one is they don't know what we know. And again, that's this unity, that's this humanism. We're all equal. And we can all, even with our differences, we can all co-live. I want to end with two things. The first one is a comment. First of all, can you, if you have something else to say, I'm just talking because I'm like.
Yeah, to be honest, like I didn't know that he described himself Yugoslavian, and I didn't know that he was so into like peace and unity. So that's like that attracts me more to him.
Yeah.
And the songs without lyrics, I think the other learners of Serbian would think the same. They are about love. You wouldn't think that they're so like you would understand there are so many words, but it's surprising. So I encourage everyone to read the lyrics while listening to his songs to understand like the real him.
Yeah, and I think without these poetic lyrics, there's not much to like. There are some really good songs, but it would like. There's no heaviness that much, There's one comment that I found on that YouTube channel. Someone wrote it down on Professor Sky's YouTube channel, and it goes like this: Yugoslavia wasn't a country anyway. She was and still is an idea because Yugoslavia is feminine. Ta Yugoslavia. You call this idea humanism? Our parents and grandparents called it brotherhood and unity. We, for whatever political reason, had to lose the word for it. But it plays no role at all, dok je nama nas, which means while we have each other. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what Yugoslavia is in your mind, what it represents. It's just while we have each other, that's what's like like-minded people, right?
Yeah, it can be still alive if we have the same thinking, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. We don't care about Yugoslavia as the country. We care about that mindset, And the last thing he said, I'm not quoting, but he described himself as not as a leader, but as someone who's carrying the torch, So he's not leading people. He's speaking.
He's guiding.
Yeah, he's speaking on their behalf in a way.
Yeah.
And I think that now that he's passed away, it's time to pass that torch to someone else. And I cannot imagine who that person will be. Yeah. So that's
I'm
it.
curious as well. Thanks a lot sharing this treasure of this region.
Yeah.
In such beautiful way. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody will listen to his songs and share their comments if they understand, if they don't understand, ask your questions to us on Instagram.
I hope you love it. I hope you understand it now. And if you have someone, a loved one, or if you are from this region but moved somewhere else when you were younger or whatever, and you want to go back to your roots, I think not investigating, but like just going through the songs and or reading about, trying to understand the lyrics and everything, reading about the mentality. I think that's something that that's really going to benefit you.
Mm-hmm. We will share all the links that we talked about here in our description.
Exactly.
And приятно, everybody.
Приятно.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed our podcast and learned something new.
In case you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, make sure to share them on our Instagram page, Može Kafa Podcast. Приятно!